Greetings from the Alexandrina Council. Let's meet the driving force behind the Alexandrina community. Chief Executive Officer, Andrew MacDonald. Mayor, Keith Parks. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Peter Oliver. West Ward, Councillor Bill Coomans. Councillor Lou Nicholson. Councillor Michael Scott. North Ward, Councillor Craig Maidment. Councillor Sue Miller. Councillor Christy Thornton. South Ward, Councillor Margaret Gardner. Councillor Millie Livingston. And finally, Councillor Peter Oliver.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our council meeting of Monday, the 21st of July, 2025. An audio recording of the meeting will be made for minute-taking purposes and will last the length of the open meeting. The audio file will be available on the council website after the draft minutes have been circulated. I'd like to welcome our elected members. We have an apology from our Chief Executive Officer, Andrew MacDonald, and our General Manager Community, Stacey Bateson. And there are no others, that's good. When we have some staff here as required. Would you please stand for the acknowledgement of country and the local government prayer. The Alexandrina Council and its communities acknowledge the Ngarrindjeri, the Paramount and the Gardner people as the traditional custodians of the lands and waters of our council district. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to grant thy blessing upon the works of this council. Guide us in our deliberations for the advancement and the true welfare of the people of this district. Thank you. Just remind council members, if you have a conflict of interest for the purposes of Part 4, Division 1, Subdivision 4 of the Local Government Act of 1999 in a matter which will be before council at this meeting, you are asked to disclose the interest to council and provide full and accurate details of the relevant interest at the beginning of the meeting. And members are reminded they must deal with the conflict of interest in accordance with the relevant provisions of Subdivision 4 at the time the item arises for consideration. We have declarations from Councillor Miller and Councillor Scott at this stage. Sorry, yep, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship. I may ask a question at item 2.4 and also at, I think it's 12.14, due to my employment, but I intend to stay in the room and debate or ask my question, but just as a degree of caution. I just want to declare a general conflict of interest. Thank you.
I'll have two conflicts of interest, one for the Murray-Darling Conference and one for the Middleton Pioneer Hall Association in relation to the Middleton Arts and Crafts lease. And I'll be leaving the room for both.
Thank you, Mayor Parks. I've got a conflict of interest. I'm with Councillor Scott for the MDA conference at item 9.7.
So item 2 is the confirmation of minutes. 2.1 is the ordinary council meeting minutes of the 16th of June 2025. There's a recommendation that they be received true and correct. Is there a move Councillor Maidment? Is there a seconder? Councillor Gardner? Any discussion relating to those minutes? I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 2.2 is the special council meeting minutes of the 23rd of June 2025. There's a recommendation that they be received as true and correct. So moved, Councillor Maidment. Seconder, Councillor Oliver. Any discussion relating to those minutes? Recommendation, all those in favour? Unanimously. 2.3 is the special council meeting minutes of the 7th of July 2000. Sorry, the 2003 is the special council meeting minutes of the 7th of July 2025. the recommendation they be received as true and correct. Move Councillor Kerman. Second to Councillor Scott. Any discussion to those minutes? If not, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 2.4 is the Southern Communities Transport Scheme minutes of the 18th of June 2025, and there's a recommendation that they be received and noted. So moved Councillor Gardner. Seconded Councillor Nicholson. Any questions or comments relating to those minutes? Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Worship. I just, when I was reading the minutes, I noticed that there had been a verbal update to the committee on the tender for the, it's escaped me now, the provision of the transport service. And I noticed that it was a verbal update. I just wondered if there's any chance of just a quick update on where that tender is at and if there's any implication. And I do declare my interest. Potentially what happens with this tender may have an impact on my employer. So, thank you.
We will know by September.
Is there any further discussion or questions relating to that report? No. So I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 2.5 is the Heritage Advisory Group minutes of the 19th of June 2025, and there's a recommendation that those notes be received and noted. Whoever, Councillor Maidman. Seconder, Councillor Miller. Any discussion relating to those minutes? Councillor Coombs, yep.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Parks. I just want to make a comment and perhaps commend the minute taker for providing a précis of the discussions held and the comments made, and also the decisions on a consensus basis. I think all of our advisory committees should be operating along similar lines, so at least we understand what they're talking and what the opinions are at the meetings. So thank you for that.
Any further questions? Sorry, Councillor Maidman.
So at that meeting I raised a query about the land management plan for the site of the Centre Grove Troughs, and I know it's only a month ago, but is there any indication when we would get some sort of communication around that, because it says administration will investigate and advise both Anne Scutchings and myself directly.
Through the Mayor, land management plan, read maintenance plan.
Sorry, the overview of the whole park or reserve.
Okay, I will need to take that one on notice, thank you.
That's okay.
Are any further questions or discussion? I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Item 3 is adjourned debate. There is none. Item 4 is presentations and deputations. We have a presentation from Mr. Des and Mrs. Karen DeCean regarding the closure of Forster Unmade Road at Middleton. So would you like to come forward? Thank you. Do you need more than 5 minutes?
I'll keep it to 5 minutes, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members and all. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you tonight. Our concern has been a small unmade road, which really has been a rat run for many years. It borders our northeastern boundary, and it's, as I say, just only about 100 odd metres. What it does to us is it causes great problem with a southeasterly blows, because it's unmade, it's unkept, council don't keep this road. It does cause quite a bit of dust for us, especially with the southeasterlies, as I say. So what we are looking for is the permanent closure, if that is possible. We hope you look kindly upon this this request. I'd also just quickly like to say thank you very much to Ross Whitfield. He's been a great help to us. He's come out, he's seen the site, he's actually heard our concerns, and so if I could just say thank you to Ross and his great team. We also have, at one stage, we applied for a grant because where the rat run basically is on our property, it is also where our dam is, which at the current moment doesn't hold water. We did go for a grant to have that fixed so that what we could do was have a biodiversity area, because we're a small 2 acres, we love where we live, we're small 2 acres surrounded by 40 acres, 80 acres, quite a lot of cleared land. As soon as it rains and our dam does fill up, whilst it's full of water, we actually get a lot of wildlife. So I think we're quite a sanctuary, and this is also very important to, we didn't get the grant, by the way, we'll go for it again, but the importance of closing the road also then streams into having our biodiversity dam, which my husband Des has suggested that we could actually put a small camera and have it online as something that would be wonderful to be able to log on to and see what's happening. And of course we would consult with the Indigenous to see what kind of reeds and plantings we need to make. But that's a very important part, we feel, of closing the road, because it does abut very closely to this dam area. Look, the rat run is really used only by very few people. We've spoken with a lot of our neighbours. They say to us, look, we only use it because it's there. As I say, it's 100 odd metres. We do get the tradie that maybe comes down Lovell Road, goes up Glenford Gully Road, then when they're coming back, they go, oh, look, there's a, and they go, vroom. Well, because it's unkept, they zip up this rat run. Because it's unkept, there are rocks and the dust, and again, it causes a whole lot of issue of dust for us. And I've been out pruning on the block, and even actually when Ross and one of his team members visited, we were standing on the corner of the rat run and Lovell Road, and exactly that happened. A car came swooping up because there was the opportunity to do it, and we all got covered in dust. So it would give us an enormous better enjoyment health-wise and peace-wise, because we've also had bikes, you know, zooming along. We don't mind any, you know, we have our neighbours riding horses and all of that. It's wonderful. It's just that because this small bit of rat run exists, it does actually cause us an enormous discomfort. And we hope you look kindly upon the request to close this road permanently. We've spoken with Ross. He said that he could actually put some lovely big rocks, make it a biodiversity area, which would allow one of our neighbours, who's an avid horse rider, to still be able to ride her horse through there, because it is quite treed and very shady and lovely in the summer. So again, it's another lovely thing to do for the area. As I say, being a very small little triangle in amongst a lot of cleared land. I think, I hope that you all received the information that we dropped off late last week. I don't know that there's anything else I need to add. We will try again for the grant to have our dam turned into a biodiversity dam. But if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Karen. Are there any questions? No? No? Sounds like a good idea. No questions, but sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
4.2 is a presentation from Julie Tranfa on behalf of the Middleton Arts and Craft Association regarding their lease proposal. So welcome, Julie. And do you need more than 5 minutes?
Definitely
No, you're quite happy with that?
All
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Parks, councillors, staff and members of the public. My name is Julie Tranfa and I am a member of the Middleton Arts and Crafts, and I have been nominated by the association to make a proposal for a new lease with the Alexandrina Council. It is my intent in this deputation to convey the worth of the Middleton Arts and Crafts Association and the positive effects it has on the local community in order to secure a 10-year lease and a peppercorn rent. When I first came to Goolwa to live, I wanted to join the community in both instances for the benefit of myself and in return to the benefit of others. Taking into consideration what I enjoyed, I thought that Middleton Arts and Crafts would perhaps be the best possible match, and so it has been. I'm a people person, and so part of the commitment to being a member is working 1 day a month in the shop. It's amazing who visits us. Only last week I sold 2 paintings from a local artist exhibiting in our gallery to a couple from Florida. Because of my love of Goolwa, I often suggest to many holiday makers that visit our shop that they make a trip to the barrage to view the local bird life and the wildlife. 15% of what I and the other 31 members sell in the shop is donated back into Middleton Arts and Crafts to pay bills and to maintain the building, but most importantly, to support the local community. This is the most fulfilling part of being a member, to know you are aiding local community groups with their important work. Last financial year, we were able to contribute to Southern Fluorio Health Advisory Council, Fluorio Cancer Support Group, Royal Flying Doctor Service Fluorio Support Group, Goolwa Uniting Church Open Door Centre, Goolwa Wildlife, Coastal Care Goolwa, Goolwa Primary School, particularly in aiding children whose parents are in financial hardship to go on excursions, etc., Happy FM and Alex FM, a total of $3,300. The culture of Middleton Arts and Crafts since its inception 43 years ago in this same location has been to support the community. Not only these community groups I have mentioned, but also the 32 members who make up our association, giving local people a purpose, an interest, aids in their well-being. We also make a space available in the building for local artists to exhibit a month at a time. Their general feedback is that they feel supported and grateful that they have a place their work can be honoured. As I mentioned, the culture of Middleton Arts and Crafts is very much an outward position, with a view to everyone benefiting from their involvement with us. 2 of our elderly members, both in their 90s, one a founding member, are no longer able to volunteer to work in the shop, but are continuing to supply the shop with their goods and are being supported by the association as we have just initiated an aged care plan. The culture for 43 years of being people for others is so strong that our request for a 10-year lease is asked for with confidence. A 10-year lease would also enable the association to plan for the improvements to shop fittings, the purchase of a new safe for historical documents, update the kitchen area, and install a semi-permanent wall which could divide the gallery from the kitchen. And we hope to do this through the applications of grants. Our request for a peppercorn rent too is asked in the hope that more community groups can be aided by extra money made available. This year we have been able to add South Coast Fluorio Friends of the Hooded Plover and Goolwa CFS. We hope that as many community groups as possible can benefit from the joy we receive in being part of not a retail store, but a group of people who place community at the heart of their works and decision making. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Any questions or discussion? Councillor Miller?
Just a comment, thank you, Your Worship. Julie, thank you, and also thank you to Karen. I love hearing the community perspective when we have to make decisions. And I just wanted to say I learned so much from that, from the report that's on the agenda tonight. I'll be the first to put my hand up and say I had no idea that that's how your enterprise, I was going to say little enterprise, but I don't think it is a little enterprise, ran out of that building. So thank you very much for your deputation tonight, and I look forward to when we talk about it.
Thank you.
Are there any, Councillor Nicholson?
Thank you so much, Julie. I think the Middleton Arts and Crafts Centre and the people involved are just incredible and bring a beautiful vibrancy to Middleton. I have had, I suppose, a concern raised with me just about the amount that will that the lease will charge, and I just wondered if there was an urgency for you in having this decided tonight, or if a delay, what impact a delay would have on the group.
When you say delay, what do you mean by delay?
A 1 month delay to make the decision.
Yep.
It wouldn't have to.
No, we try not to worry the members because we feel that, you know, we're a positive group of people and not wanting to impact any worry or concern, and just hope that with the amount of work that we do within the community or who we liaise with, that we will be found in positive favour. So, thank you.
Are there any questions? I can't see why we delay it, Julie, for goodness sake. You're a great organisation. But thanks for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Item 5 is petitions. There are no petitions. Item 6 is questions with notice. There are no questions with notice. Item 7 is questions without notice. Are there any questions without notice? Councillor Maidment.
Is it possible, not tonight, but to take this on notice, to get some update on the flood mitigation for Ashbourne, because that's been carried along the same time frame as the Middleton flood mitigation issue. So, and I'd like to understand the challenges of the Ashbourne project.
Through the Mayor, your timing is impeccable. We're just preparing an update for the Ashbourne community and for those that are directly impacted by that work. So that'll be coming out very soon, hopefully within the next week.
Are there any further questions without notice? Councillor Miller.
I noticed there's been some commentary around the Fleurieu Peninsula tourism funding, and I just wondered when we would be seeing that in this chamber. I know we've got some budget, but I think there's some discrepancy or some discussion occurring around the length of the agreement and some changes that are coming.
Sure, I'll just take that one on notice. I mean, our General Manager Community is working on a partnerships report, I believe, so I think it will be coming very soon, but I'll get back to you on that one.
Are there any further questions? Councillor Scott.
Yes, in relation to this algal bloom outbreak, is there anything being done collaborating with Victor Harbor and Yankalilla at all? And are we planning to do that, because the seriousness of the situation seems to be just escalating so fast, and
just have to keep your eye on the microphones. If they turn off by themselves, we lose them. So we had a meeting on Friday, actually, the Southern Hills Local Government Board meeting, at which, of course, Victor Harbour, Yankalilla, Adelaide Hills and Mount Barker were attending. We had Adam from the South Australian Coastal Councils Alliance was in attendance. So there are 26 coastal councils in South Australia, plus the 8 on the metropolitan area, but the regional ones are the ones that we really are working with. So Matt, we wrote a letter. I wrote a letter with Adam, and that went to Minister Watt today, was hand delivered to him while he was in Adelaide. Adam had a discussion with him and the Deputy Premier, and Adam has now been accepted on the Premier's board, looking at the panel which is looking at the management of bloom. So we can't really get any higher up the chain unless we get to the Prime Minister, then we can. There's a lot of attention being drawn to it. We do understand, and I fully support the comments that if it was Bondi Beach, there would have been a national disaster 2 months ago. But this is really a very serious situation. It's not going to go away quickly. But we've certainly, I saw the press release from the Premier this afternoon that $14 million has been allocated going to be the distribution I haven't seen, but it's still not been declared a national disaster. So they're still pushing for that. So Adam will be having a meeting with the Minister, with the Federal Minister, Minister Watt, in Canberra, probably in the next week. So we'll see how we go from there. Have any other questions? No, so that's fine. Item 8 is notices of motion. There are no notices of motion. Jump around a bit. Item 9 is administration reports. 9.1 is the closure of an unmade portion of Ocean Road, Middleton, Acker, Glenford, Gully Road, and the recommendation there with 2 dot points. Alan, is there anything you need to add to that report? No. Are there any questions for clarity relating to that report? If not, the recommendations there is somebody would like to move it, Councillor Scott.
Happy to move, Your Worship. It's interesting looking at this. There's, if you like to go back into history, the district was cut up into, was subdivided, shall we say, or surveyed in squares, and the roads that run north-south, some road east-west. And when you look at Glenford Gully Road, those old fellows, it runs up to a water reserve, which is up beyond there, and they obviously noted that there was a hill to get over there, and I suspect that they were very smart and kept on the contour and avoided the marsh down at the back of Chibnall's, or now Vincent's, and skirted around. And that's why we've got this unusual piece of ground, because it's very unusual to have a little bit of land, 2 acres of land like that. It has obviously history as well, because it belonged to the late Frank Lovell, who was a World War I veteran and used to be there with his horses. But I'm certainly advocating that we close the road. There is one really overpowering point there, which I've experienced myself, because I used to use that road quite a bit when I had land up that road, up Glenford Gully further. That corner at the northern part with a real point is actually quite dangerous, because as you come along what's been called the rat run, it's very hard to look back and to see whether there's something coming, and because you're negotiating a ditch and I think so. And I've nearly been caught there myself, because people actually do drive up that way quite quickly along that road, and it can catch you. Whereas now, if we close that road, the Lovell Road traffic will have to go down. I suggest that our road staff check that corner and perhaps make some minor improvements to the gradient so that it's easier to negotiate, because there'll be people making quite a sharp turn round to the right to go up Glenford Gully Road if they come from Lovell Road, and it might need a bit of improvement. I'm not sure, I haven't checked it just lately, but it might need some. But I think the other benefit is that when that road is well vegetated, it will be, it'll give, one of the benefits will be for the animals in the next paddock. From the west, they'll get a lot of shelter, because that paddock has hardly got a tree in it. And so I think there's great benefit in doing it in various points. So I'm happy to move that and urge everybody to support it, because I think it'll be a good result all round. Thank you.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Curtis. Any discussion?
It's all been said, I think.
Any further discussion or questions? No? I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. We just have to make sure it's up and kicking forward rather than keep the rocks big enough to keep the trail lights out of everywhere. That's great. 9.2 is Forster Street, Goolwa. The conversion from a private road to a public road. Tash, is there anything with that report? Are there any questions for clarification? If not, do we have a mover for? you can now. If you can do it earlier, it'd be good.
For a private road to a public road, and then we're going to, and then I presume we're selling it. Does it have to remain as a road, or can it be reverted back to two? Because it's potentially two building blocks. Because everybody else has got a frontage. It could be two building blocks.
So through that, Mayor, this is part of our strategic land program. This property has been identified, and the process we have to go through, while it does seem a little absurd making it road so then we can make it land, but that's the process that we need to go through to convert it to land. We are in, as part of that strategic land program, talking to the neighbouring properties and other people, and we'll come back to you with a further report when we're ready for disposal once this is done.
Thank you.
So there's a recommendation there with 4 dot points. Is there a move, Councillor Livingston? Do you speak to it? Is there a seconder? Councillor Oliver? Is there any discussion or questions? Straightforward one. If not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 9.3 is the Middleton floods update. Alan, do you have anything to add to that report?
Yep, through the Mayor, just to provide a bit of an update on the Mill Terrace and Flagstaff Hill work. I got some information today to say that the initial reports have been done, some feedback has then been provided to the consultants on that. So it'll be about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks until that comes back to us. So we're anticipating having that report by early August, with the intention then that we can start to have conversations with council about what we do.
Are there any questions for clarity on this item? So there's a recommendation there with 2 dot points. Is there a mover for that? Move, Councillor Scott. Second to Councillor Livingston. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 9.4 is the service review framework. Tash, is there anything to add to that report?
Nothing further. The summary is in the council report of the changes that we made post the workshop and feedback from council members, but nothing further.
And are there any questions for clarification? No. So is there a mover, Councillor Oliver? I can see you trying to hand up. Do you wish to move it? Do you wish to speak?
I do wish to move it. I wish to move it with a couple of changes that I've worked through with the admin today, and thank you for your time to do that. I'd like to welcome this initiative and commend the admin for the work undertaken. And yeah, sure. And thank you for the work undertaken. I'm significantly concerned that it doesn't fully suit our financial situation. I think it needs to our primary driver, cost reduction. As currently drafted, it has a business and financial risk of increasing demand, services, service levels and costs. So as a compromise, I'd like to propose the changes to ensure the primary focus of the framework is to reduce our costs through the realignment of service levels, and as a consequence, there's no increase in service levels and associated costs. Thank you.
So you'll move that, what you're moving? Thank you. So you just... Do you have a second? No. A seconder? Councillor Coomans, do you wish to speak to it? Is there any scope for Councillor
One question. I reviewed the draft service review framework, which we got last week, and there aren't terribly many changes, and we spent an hour and 40 minutes to what reported in the agenda here. And I have a question for Acting CEO tonight, Tash. You would have received an email from a ratepayer and asking if you would consider in this a matrix of which showed different weightings of opinions. So where you have a technical issue or a technical project, you obviously weight the thoughts and recommendations much more highly than, say, just the general public. So was there any consideration through this process to incorporate any of that gentleman's thoughts in this framework?
Sure. I did have a conversation with a community member after the session here and followed up via email. So they did have some thoughts around how a weighting scale could be applied. I think applying a weighting scale to this framework is very difficult given that it's based around human-centred design and putting the people at the centre of the decision making. So it would be very hard to do that in a process and then say, we really want to involve you, want to listen to you, get your feedback, but then, by the way, we're only going to listen to you, this percentage. What will be really important is that we strengthened our language around the project brief and when council would decide what stakeholders are involved. So I think at that point for each individual service review, the council members can give feedback and input into which stakeholders are involved and making sure we've got the right mix. There were really good conversations, some thought-provoking ideas we discussed, but there was nothing I felt at this time I could implement within this framework.
Councillor Livingston?
Yes, I can't support the motion as amended. I see where Councillor Oliver is coming from. However, in my view, the service review is not just about reduction in costs. I think the focus is on the service, and there may be services that we don't have that we need to consider. It might not always be a simple reduction in costs across the board. So I will be foreshadowing motion in the original format. Thank you.
So is there any further discussion? Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Worship. I just note that there's also a change proposed to 6.1.1, but that wasn't spoken to, so I won't be supporting this either, and if Councillor Livingston gets the opportunity to foreshadow the previous one, I will foreshadow that I would second that as well, and then I would speak to this, but I don't think this enhances what we already have. It's not about cost cutting. Cost cutting was the primary objective we were trying to achieve. I thought we were trying to achieve financial sustainability, improve financial sustainability and providing the same level of service to our community. So I won't be supporting this as moved. And I hope that the motion as printed gets the opportunity to get moved by this being lost. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Councillor Scott.
A question of the appropriate staff. Are we backing ourselves into a corner where we say in 6.1.1 council's financial goals supported with the aim of no net increase in service levels and or costs? Sometimes we get caught, we've got to provide the service, but the cost for some extraordinary reason may have gone up. So I go back to my original question, are we backing ourselves into a bit of a corner by including that?
Through the Mayor, I guess the original framework, the way it was developed, was to be a bit flexible and agile, and for each individual service review, you could review the objectives and what you're wanting to get out of each one, because they're going to be very different. This one is obviously trying to bring in the direction that the primary focus is around cost reduction, and what we would, if this was successful, we would have to consider the principle that you've got there at 6.1.1, which means we would be aiming for no net increase in service levels and or costs, which could give you some inflexibility there.
Any further discussion? Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you. Question for clarity. Are both of these suggestions to replace in full what is in the current draft? So say at section 6.11 it would just be that, and all 6.11 to 6.110 in the strategy would be removed? Sorry,
through the Mayor, the suggestion was we would insert an additional objective at section 4.1, so this one would become the first objective ahead of your 3 other ones that are already there. And it's also asking to change the objective that was already in there at 6.1. So the principle at 6.1.1 says council's financial goals are supported, full stop, where this adds on the aim of no increase in service levels and or costs.
Any further? Councillor Scott.
Don't we have an overarching acceptance that we are aiming to curtail unnecessary expense wherever we can? And therefore a review is done with that as a backdrop to any review that we do. Is that fair comment?
Through the Mayor, it's certainly an intention of administration, and it will be highly developed through our delivery plan of our strategic plan A2040. I guess in answer of how we would do that, in the draft document you've got already in the service review principles, if I read you 6.1.9, is we have put in here as a principle opportunities such as revenue generating, cost saving, alternative service delivery models and improvement initiatives are considered. So our principles already pick up that we will consider these things, but it doesn't dictate no increase.
Any further discussion? Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you. I'd just like to express that I can understand where this motion is coming from, because I share concerns as well that the service review framework is an opportunity to look at cost savings, efficiencies, but I suppose my concern is also that it could be limiting other opportunities. So at this stage I'm not sure that I could support the motion, Councillor Oliver, but I look forward to hearing any further debate. Thank you.
So, any further discussion? So if we have a right of reply, I'd just like to say my opinion of this is there's multiple service. It's not just one service review. It's multiple components to look at what we do. And when we do it, we're going to find where we may over-service or under-service. So there'll be some flexibility needed. Particularly when we go, one of the first ones I believe we're going to be doing is our overarching look at the Wharf precinct and the assets within that and what we can do. So in that review, I would expect we'll identify some significant income opportunities, because there are assets there sitting there doing nothing, costing us money. So it has to be a flexible review of everything we do, and look at it holistically, like the plan was to do. But I think it's multiple things. At the end of the day, we review a service that we're doing. We go through the whole process. At the end of the day, it comes back to council identifying any costs, any savings and any impacts, and that's when you make the decision. But in the meantime, we've got to go through it, because you don't know what the answer to that is yet. But Councillor Oliver, you want to...
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate your comments and everyone's input there, and it's great to have this discussion. I do just want to note that it does say no net increase in service levels or costs. So it does provide for efficiency, substitution, moving it around, adjustments. But the idea is let's not drive up demand in our cost structure by doing a service review. Because when I heard us talking over the last few months, the intent was clear. Instead of cut budget, we just cut the rubbish out of the budget, and we were going to go through this structured process with the primary focus of reducing the costs. Thank you.
So that ends the discussion. So I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? So that is lost.
Could I call for a division, please?
So Councillor Oliver is calling for a division. Just remind elected members that a division is a new vote. So those voting in the affirmative, would you please stand? So we have Councillor Coomans, Councillor Nicholson and Councillor Oliver. Thank you. Those voting in the negative, would you please stand? Councillor Thornton, Councillor Scott, Councillor Miller, Councillor Livingston, Councillor Mainman and Councillor Gardner. That is lost. So we have a foreshadowed motion moved by Councillor Livingston. So do you wish to speak to it?
Mayor Parks, I urge the Chamber to support this motion as printed in the agenda. In my view, there's been a large body of work by administration in preparing the framework. We have had an opportunity as well to go through the framework, which I thank administration for. In my view, the principles 6.1.9 and 6.1.10 are sufficient in relation to the importance of council's financial sustainability. I would suggest for all of us the financial implications are forefront in our minds during a review, but for me as well that must be balanced with priorities, demands, changes in demographic, the list goes on. I would hope financial implications would be a consideration in each individual project brief. However, again, for me that goes back to each specific review and in my view can't be a blanket framework. So again, I urge the Chamber to support this motion.
Councillor Miller, you seconding it?
Yes, I am, Your Worship, and I would just like to speak, if I may. I'm delighted about this service review framework and continuous improvement program that they're being prioritised. I think they'll enable informed and ongoing conversations with our community. There'll be conversations about service delivery, assets and infrastructure management standards and performance, including our green assets, and confirming the community's expectations and willingness to pay for those performance standards and levels of service or not. So much more nuanced than an annual business planning process that we do every year. This service review framework will target operating budget efficiencies rather than the capital works program. Along with the community survey, which I'm looking forward to hearing more about, there'll be an ongoing barometer. They'll quantify and measure community sentiment. Service reviews are not and must not be just about how we can reduce costs associated with a particular service or asset. They are more sophisticated than that. And a perfect example of this is the review of the Goolwa Centenary Hall and the Strathalbyn Town Hall, and how changing the delivery model may result in significant savings and at the same time operate in a more sustainable way and deliver a higher offering. Service reviews are a health check for our community. Are we providing the right level of service? Are you, the community, getting value for money? They are about a check-in on equity, access and inclusion. And it was actually a watershed moment for me when we received the service review on the Visitor Information Centre in the Arts and how we could have shaved $281,000 off our future budget, operating budget. But we didn't, and I'm glad we're going to run that decision now through this process. The continuous improvement program we're all on, I'm embracing, and I think we all are, and that's our commitment to financial sustainability and delivering in an efficient way. It'll encourage innovation, and if you just focus on cost cutting and reducing costs, innovation, I think, can be stifled. I think the administration and the executive have committed to this, and I'm confident our collective effort will deliver efficiencies and higher standards of service for our community in a sustainable way. I feel privileged to be part of it, and I particularly love community involvement elements of this. The rigour around how we see, hear and listen to many more sectors of our community, and I hope engagement by those who don't engage at the moment increases. I'm excited by identifying, testing and validating in a transparent, balanced and inclusive way any opportunities to perhaps expand services or deliver them in a different way. That doesn't mean that it'll cost more. There'll be technology improvements, innovation improvements, the community putting their hand up to deliver things. So I think we can't just focus on cost. And to the point that I think Councillor Livingston made about changes in our demographics. Since 30th of June 2017 and the 30th of June this year, the number of rateable properties in our council has increased by 1,796 to 20,158. That means there are actually 1,879 more rateable properties, but there are 83 less primary production properties. And there's an average of 240 new properties over the last 8 years coming on our books, and there are 10 primary production properties a year falling off. That means people are converting their properties to residential. What that means is that there are increased demand on stormwater, roads, collection, all of those services that are fundamental that councils provide. So I hope that we can use these service reviews to look at the technology and the delivery models, and we might be able to deliver so many more services for so much less. So it's not for me about cost cutting. I think we've all demonstrated we've made a commitment to financial sustainability, and now what we have to do is have conversations with our community about what they expect. And they'll all be different. It'll be different in Middleton to Strathalbyn to Highland Valley and across to Mount Compass. And that's where I think service reviews will have their power. And I'm delighted, and I congratulate the administration. I know it was a lot of work to put this together, and it is human-centred, and I think that's worthy of support. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? No. I think what goes in with these reviews, particularly some of the early ones, is the empowering of our volunteers. Because we've got volunteers that would do a whole lot of work they'd love to do that they can't do at the moment. If we empowered them, they get more pride in what they're doing, save us money, and so there's lots of ways to look at it. But Councillor Livingston, did you want to? No. So I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. So we go to 9.5. Is the 2025 South Australian Wood and Boat Festival Economic Impact Report. There's Stacey's not here, of course, but any to add to that? No. Sarah's not here? No. Are there any questions for clarity relating to that report? If not, there's a recommendation with 2 dot points that would move. Councillor Oliver, do you wish to speak to it? Seconded, Councillor Livingston. Do you wish to speak?
Yeah, I just want to thank administration for this report. I think it shows everyone really how big the economic impact is on our area from the South Australian Wood and Boat Festival, and definitely look forward to the next one.
Is there any further discussion? Councillor Miller.
I have a question about the difference between the 2 recommendations. Is one to note the agenda item, and number 2 is to note the report? Is that how I read that? And then I have a question on it.
Through the chair, you're right. One is just receiving the report, which is a standard line we have on all ones, and the other one's just noting the attachment. Probably could have been done as one line.
I just want to make sure I understood it. And so I do have a question about what the timing is for the review of the operational logistics of the festival, and probably they will have to be taken on notice. And I know the Deputy Chair resigned, and I think they had flagged a governance review. So it's probably not related to this, but it's separate but related. So I will put my questions to the administration, I guess.
So Livingston, do you wish to clarify any of that for the Deputy Chair particularly?
Yeah, no, and I don't want to speak on behalf of Ruth, but I understand that she still definitely wants to be involved in the festival, but she has played an integral part of the festival and the operations, committee management, everything for quite some time, and it was quite a large role, so I can sympathise why one of the reasons why she wanted to step down in that regard. And in relation to, from an operational point of view, we do have our next meeting, which Councillor Oliver might be able to clarify for me, where we are undertaking a complete review of the festival. Sorry.
Any further questions or discussion?
So my comment was of the report. It was great. It was a wonderful festival, and it was really good to read all about it and hear how successful it was.
Councillor Oliver.
Mayor, just the meeting will work. Is that all right? Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. Oh, sorry.
It's a fantastic report. It was a fantastic festival, and we should absolutely congratulate both our two council members who are on the committee, but also the whole committee and everybody involved. When you look at the figures, what is outstanding in amongst those figures is the overnight stays. Thousands and thousands of people stayed overnight in this area because of that festival, which is something that we really are trying to, with tourism and getting people here. It's the hardest thing, and the most beneficial thing is overnight stays. And the impact, I know from both the Federal Minister and the Deputy Premier who attended, they were actually thrilled to bits with it and are looking forward to the next one. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you. I just want to respond. The work doesn't stop. We're right back onto it. In fact, there was the workshop to start what you were talking about was scheduled for July, but due to illness of the chairperson, that's been postponed until September. But there won't be a delay until the next festival. The team is working, collaborating with the admin as we speak to get on to the next one.
Thanks, Councillor Oliver. So that ends the discussion. So I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 9.6 is the Strathalbyn Town Hall reopening update and celebration. Stacey, anything to add?
Nothing further to add. Just highlight that Council had previously resolved to hold a meeting in Strathalbyn, and due to the timing, we're just asking Council to ratify that so that we can schedule the meeting under the requirements of the Local Government Act.
Do you wish to move it?
I do, but I wish to move just number 1, and can we consider number 2 separately, please?
Are you happy to do that? Can we show of hands? All those in favour of doing that?
Is Peter moving it?
Well, yeah, we to split it, we have to get the...
No, you don't.
No. Okay, so you're just moving 1? Right. You're speaking to it? No. Oh, is there a seconder for dot point 1? Councillor Nicholson. Is there any questions or discussion? Councillor Miller.
I just wanted to say I think the renovations are beautiful. The tour we had last week was wonderful. I think the renovation of this historic significant building will be immediately activated, and I look forward to seeing how the community use it. And I think it's great the Strathalbyn Town Band have returned, and I think the celebrations are proportional and appropriate. And I thank the administration for this report. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Questions? No? So I'll put dot point 1 to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. We had a dot point 2. So is there a mover for that? Councillor Miller? You're speaking to it?
Yes, thank you. I thank administration for this report and for honouring our resolution, which we already made back on the 20th of January 2025, to hold a council meeting in Strathalbyn on the 19th of May. However, as the town hall was not ready, that did not occur, and the resolution did allow for this and accommodated it. So we have already made this decision. Tonight what we're doing is setting the date. Over 60 people attended in the gallery last year for the council meeting. The support for this, your support for holding this meeting again, especially in the town hall, will acknowledge the geographic and demographic characteristics of our vast council area and show you care about equity, access and inclusiveness. And I'll save the rest for my closing debate, Your Worship. Thank you.
There's a seconder for Councillor Gardner. Yeah.
Thank you. I too attended the walkthrough of the town hall last week, and it is quite beautiful. And the work that's been done on is just lovely. The painting makes it stand. All those beautiful Art Deco pieces stand out. Upstairs is just terrific to look down on the main building, and I certainly endorse and recommend this this motion. I think we should be going to Strathalbyn. It's an important town in our area, and everybody in our council area deserves to be able to go to a meeting if they so desire. And I know that they can come to Goolwa, but not everyone can, and not everyone wants to go out at night, especially in the winter time, and this will be still dark. So yes, I think it's important that we have this opportunity to have the meeting held in the town hall in Strathalbyn.
So any further discussion, Councillor Maidment?
Thank you. Totally agree with a couple of speakers. Why wouldn't you have a celebration to open this hall, which has been out of commission for 4 years? It will obviously be an opportunity to showcase how it might function to the community. I do note that there will be maybe an opportunity for the locals to view the town hall on, I think, the 15th of August. It will just be an open day. Looking forward to that. And it's been a long journey, and it's come up fantastically well. So I'm looking forward to hopefully having this council meeting on that 15th of September.
Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, and I appreciate everyone's comments. I've got to say, this would be really nice, but this is discretionary expenditure, which is against our standard basis of operation. I put it to you that it's an opportunity to save $3,000. Now, $3,000 may not seem a lot, but it's more than the rates of one household for an entire year. Wouldn't it be nice if we could pick out one magic house and say, you don't have to pay your rates this year, but our business would still continue as normal? So I'd ask you to question the value of this expenditure at this time. And I do note that we have discussed and moved resolutions for other initiatives like live streaming, etc. This doesn't stop the party and the celebration from happening, but I don't think it is a great opportunity to show our financial restraint. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Parks. I'm going to support this one, but on the basis that when I was part of the visitation of that place, I was pretty much impressed in what has been achieved. It looks absolutely magnificent, and it's an opportunity for us to actually showcase to all of Alexandrina what council can do, and it's certainly worth seeing. But in principle, I've always opposed meeting anywhere else other than Goolwa. It seems to me that if you had special items that related to an area, then it might be worthwhile having a meeting there. But if you've got items that are basically about to do with Goolwa, why you didn't have to travel to Strath to discuss those? So the people who here have to travel up there for those sorts of items. So there are special events where you do that sort of thing. But in principle, I think this is our place of operation. This is where we should operate from. This is, you know, there's costs involved in having to move it. I wasn't all that impressed with our meeting in Strath last year. I thought it was pretty poor actually, and it's not a criticism of anyone. It's just the location we had. This place is probably a good location, and as I said at the start, I would like people to have a look at what council achieved, and for that reason I will support this.
Any further discussion? Councillor Scott.
Just briefly, I would support what Councillor Cooman said in principle. I'm not in favour of the racking up the expense of moving meetings around the district. We're not in the North Flinders Ranges where there's a huge distance. It's even from the bottom to the top of this area is not a huge drive. But I will support it because for that very reason, I unfortunately couldn't get to the walk through the other day, but I can imagine the rest. And we need to celebrate things like that. And I think perhaps really understand where Councillor Oliver's coming from, but $3,000 is probably not lost on being able to have a declaration and a really expose of a grand building.
Any further discussion? No? I agree with Councillor Cooman's statements. I do note though, and I'm sure you understand, this is not an additional expenditure. It was part of the budget. Okay, we could save it. It's nice to make a saving, but it was part of our budget. It is a once-off. And as has been said, when you see the hall and when the community see the hall, they'll be overwhelmed. It absolutely is a beautiful asset, and we should be proud to show it off. Yeah, so Councillor Miller, do you wish to have a right of reply? Yeah.
Thank you, Worship, and thank you to my colleagues for whatever reason they are supporting this. I'm so very grateful, and the community will be too. I'm very glad that there was sufficient budget allocation to honour that January commitment. There is growing interest in council business and how decisions are made. This is a small but very meaningful way to keep that interest growing and to show to our community, and Strathalbyn is an important township in our community, and it has a lot of outlying areas. It's about equity, access and inclusion. I know I say those words a lot, but this is one way, meaningful way that we demonstrate that and showcase our beautiful town hall. So thank you to those who are supporting this. I appreciate it.
It's discussion. I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That is carried. (9.7) is the Murray-Darling Association 81st National Conference and Annual General Meeting. So Andrew is not here, so do you wish to have any clarification?
Yeah, just through the chair, we'll get our confidential declarations done first. They just need to declare what their conflict is and how they will manage it before they leave. Thank you.
We've got a material conflict of interest due to the membership and being on Region 6. The report is essentially about us, and I'll leave the room. Sorry.
I'm also one of the delegates to Region 6 and am keen to attend this. I think it's important that Region 6 is represented there, and I have a conflict of interest obviously, and I'll leave the room too.
So, Lachlan or Tash, is there anything regarding this report that needs to be updated or further information? No? Any questions for clarity? We're talking about clarity, not discussion. So, the difference. Okay, so if there's not, there is a recommendation with 3 dot points before you. Is there somebody that would like to move that? Councillor Gardner, and what would you like to move?
I'd like to move 1, 2 and 3 so that we're sending Councillor Livingston and Councillor Scott to the 81st National Conference and the Annual General Meeting to be held in Griffin, New South Wales, and that their expenses be paid. I think it's very important that our council area is involved, and I think I know they went last year, and they are well suited to go on our behalf.
So do we have a second now? Councillor Coomans? Speaking to it?
Yeah, look, just a couple of words. I'm happy to support this, and per our policy, I look forward to their individual reports on their return.
Is there any further discussion? Councillor Miller.
I just have a question about, so they are voting delegates, but I was looking for the agenda, so I can't see what they're voting on. I think they're the two perfect people to represent our community on this. It's not about that. I'm just, how they form their position, is that based on our strategic plan and previous decisions and I don't know how the voting works for this kind of appointment when we don't know what the agenda is, or does that come back to us at some point? I can't remember what happened last year, that's all. And do any staff attend as well, if there's any staff going?
No, well, Andrew also attends these meetings, but he's not going. He's not a voting delegate, but he does attend. But what they're doing is representing Region 6, which is our end of the River Murray, and we know how important it is. We're the end of the drain, so to speak, and so they'll be voting on matters that come up. They've been at meetings all through the year. Every time they go to a meeting, they discuss different matters and different things of concern, and things that really are important. At the moment, we're getting 4.5 gigalitres a day across the border. We're getting, Blanchetown, we're getting 4.5 gigalitres a day. Now that's environmental water, but it's not all of our environmental water, and we're getting no entitlement. So we're getting nowhere near the amount of water that the South Australia is entitled to. That's one of the things that they're going to go to and also water buybacks and all those sort of things that are bad for the river and bad for everybody along the river in South Australia and beyond. So it is really important. It's critical to we know what it was like in 2007 and 8 when we had the drought and we had no water. We know what it did to the region. Some people and the businesses have still not got over it. So, yeah, I hope that answers that question. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I fully support our elected members' involvement on the authority, and I'm going to vote for this. However, I do again ask, is this yet another opportunity for a $9,000 cost saving? And $9,000 is the rates per annum for 3 to 4 houses. This cost is significant and discretionary. And I do have a couple other questions. Do you have to attend every gathering? Are there other ways to attend or to participate? And is this representation, or as the budget is being disclosed, is it a training and development expenditure? Again, I do recognise the importance. I am going to vote for it, but I do ask those critical questions.
Through the Mayor, to attend the conference, currently there's no electronic means of attending the conference program. I did ask today, or through the Manager of Governance asked for them today. We've been told you can attend the AGM section online, but not the conference and all the obviously extra tours and education that you get from going there. And in relation to the budget, it is a budgeted item within our council member training portfolio. So the money's there, but it is discretionary.
Any further discussion, questions? Councillor Gardner, before you have your, I'll just say it is important that we go. We can't not have people from this region attend such an important meeting. But the $9,158 is the anticipated maximum. So we should be encouraging the attendees to take the options that are the least expensive, the least expensive possible way of attending, and that way we should be able to save a considerable amount of that money. So you have your right of reply.
Thank you, Mayor. As we know, Councillor Scott is probably one of the best talkers. He could talk underwater. So, and Councillor Livingston has got a wonderful way of managing words. They have a fantastic opportunity to sell this end of the river to all the other states' representatives, and I'm sure that they will do their very best. I'm sure they will.
That ends the discussion. I just think, sorry, one thing I should have said. It's important to recognise, apart from Councillor's knowledge of the river and Councillor Livingston's knowledge of being born, she's the only environmental lawyer in South Australia. So there's no other lawyer, nobody else in practising environmental law in this state. So that ends the discussion, so I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. So can we give them back, please? So 9.8 is the Clayton Bay Riverside Holiday Park. It's a DA number 240344401, and it's regarding landowners' consent for various items. Tash, is there anything to add to that?
Nothing further.
Are there any questions for clarity? Councillor Oliver.
Thank you. It states in the report that the landholders or residents across the road are not affected adversely in any way. I just want to confirm that that is the case, because in speaking to some of them, they're not sure that that is the case. And secondly, will the walking path along the riverfront be unencumbered? People still be able to freely do that?
Through the chair, I'll get the manager of property to address your questions.
Through the Mayor, the cabins are below the level that they can be seen from the top of Island View Drive, let alone the other side of the road, and the public walkway remains unchanged and available to the public. There's no road closures, nothing happening along the front there.
Any other questions for clarity? Straight. We did have it brought to us at a workshop. So there's a recommendation there with 2 dot points. Is there a mover, Councillor Maidment? Do you wish to speak to it?
Thank you. Goodness knows we need more accommodation in our district. This will address some of that need. I think the only reason it's come to our attention is the fact that it partly built in the conservation zone, and in the report it's very well explained that such a proposal complements the environment, and the development of cabins can be assessed on merit as a performance assessed form of development. So that'll make Cameron and his team a lot easier if we get this over the line. It doesn't require any referrals or public notification, and I think also the internal roads bitumised will certainly lift that area. We have been down there and had a look around, and as explained, no one on Island View Drive would be able to view these, and it shouldn't impact on their amenity.
Do we have a seconder, Councillor Mello? You're seconding it? You're speaking to it?
Just very briefly, I couldn't think of any reason why we wouldn't support this. I agree that from the previous report about the Wooden Boat Festival, overnight accommodation and stays is what we need desperately in our district. This will benefit Langhorne Creek, Malang, Strathalbyn, Goolwa, broader than that, probably the Barossa, and Taylor Bend, all down that way. It's an envisaged form of development, and I think they've proven to be very responsible managers of the environment and the facility, and I wholeheartedly support this. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councillor Nicholson?
Thank you. I agree with what has been said so far, but I just wanted to add that not only is it a great destination for people coming to visit our region. It's a wonderful opportunity for a staycation within our region, which I've enjoyed with my family, and it's just a wonderful place to stay. And the way that they've done it is, really sympathetic to the environment around, and I think the additional cabins will be an excellent feature. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Do you wish to write a reply? No. So I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 9.9 is Armfield Wooden Boats Incorporated. It's a DA number 2500307 for a freestanding shelter. Attached, is there anything to add to this report?
Nothing further.
And are there any questions for clarity? No. So there's a recommendation with 2 dot points. Do you wish to move it? Councillor Scott, seconded Councillor Oliver. Any discussion, questions? No. So I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. .10 is a land management agreement. It's a partial waiver request for 1 Benali Drive, Port Elliot. Stacey's not here. Cameron, is there anything that Cameron needs to add?
Nothing further.
Okay. Any questions for clarity? Councillors, for clarity. Councillor Coomans.
Thank you, Mayor Parks. I should have asked this before, but as a member of the Fleurieu Regional Assessment Panel, a deputy, I understand from the report that it does not require any community consultations, hence I don't...
Sorry, Councillor Coomans, is your question regarding whether you will have a conflict? Cam, could you just come here for a moment? Thank you. He's just clarified it will not end up at the panel, so no conflicts. Thank you.
Thank you. I just need to clarify that.
There's a recommendation there with 2 dot points. Is there a move, Councillor Scott?
Yes. If I may just speak briefly. Just looking at this and knowing the actual block and everything, I can personally see no problem in us granting that. It's only a small encroachment over the line, and it makes it better for the people for what they want to do, and doesn't detract from anything else around it. So I think it's just a straight up and down, and happy to move it and support it. Thank you.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Coomans. Any discussion? No, so I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. .11 is the Middleton Arts and Crafts Incorporated lease proposal. Tash, is there anything to clarify on that information?
Nothing further. What I will just clarify is that as the officer recommending to you, we have put in here a recommendation of an annual rent of $500, which is our policy position. I understand you had a deputation tonight, so I just wanted to make that clear that they requested peppercorn, but as administration, I've recommended a $500 in line with the policy position, but over to whoever moves it.
I just wanted to declare again my conflict of interest, as I am on the committee of the Middleton Pioneer Hall Association, which are the lessors of the Arts and Crafts building. Thank you.
So 9.11 is the Middleton Arts and Craft Incorporated lease proposal. There's a recommendation there with 6 points. Is there a mover for any of that? Councillor Oliver, do you wish to speak to it? Is there a seconder? Councillor Gardner? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I am very grateful to the speaker from the Middleton Arts and Crafts Association, and I recognise that it would be good to have just a peppercorn less. I don't want to have changed the lease, the rent or the annual rent for $500, because many of our other organisations like yours, who are run by community, often have to pay a subscription to belong to that organisation. And I'm just thinking of 2 in Goolwa who also pay $500. So if we let you to have, we said, okay, you don't have to pay the $500. Where does that leave us with all the other associations who are now paying $500? For instance, Chitterslow pays $500. I'm not sure about the Lions Bookshed, but I imagine that they would be doing the same thing. And so there are many organisations who are requested or who are asked to pay $500. I understand that you actually also give money to other organisations, so it does mean that you're getting money in. So despite the fact that it would be really nice to give it to you for nothing, I can't agree with that at this time, because I really think we would then have to think about all those other organisations. And one of the things that we're struggling to do, and particularly Councillor Oliver, is very hot on ensuring that we are cutting our costs. And if we cut your costs, then we're going to have to cut other people's. Or if we give you the lease for nothing, then we're going to have to do that for others. And then it makes it difficult for us as a council. So I'm really sorry about this. Understand your request, but it's a no from me and a yes for this recommendation.
I'll just bring to your attention the procedure. You don't address the people in the gallery, you address the chamber. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Nicholson.
Your Worship, with absolutely no question about the positive benefits to the community, I have had queries raised with me over the weekend related to the business model and council consideration of a higher fee reflecting a level of commercial operation. So after confirming that a 1-month adjournment wouldn't have a significant negative impact, I seek a formal motion to adjourn this for 1 month to seek more clarity on the questions asked of me over the weekend and allow all elected members consideration of this.
So you're moving a formal motion. So is there a seconder for the formal vote? Oh, sorry, yeah.
About the business model.
So is there a seconder for the formal motion? Is there a seconder? Councillor Livingston? So it's a formal motion that it be Where's it gone? Adjourned to the next ordinary council meeting. So, it's a formal motion, there is no discussion. I'll put the formal motion to you. All those in favour? Against? That is lost. We now go back to the original recommendation. Is there any further discussion on the original recommendation? Councillor Coomans.
If I can get the sign going. I understand there is significant monies on the, is it the capital, for the upgrading of the toilets and the drainage associated with that centre. Could you give us the figure for that?
Through the Mayor, there is a capital project to upgrade the public toilet, which sits at the back of the Middleton Arts and Crafts, which obviously the Arts and Crafts Centre use as well as the public. Do you know that figure, Alan?
Through the Mayor, I'm not going to give you that figure because we haven't tendered that work. Yeah.
Understand, but it's a significant amount.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Worship. I just, I have a question around, or actually no, I'll just speak, I'll word it in a way. I found this a really interesting read. Understanding the map of who leases and then who subleases and how much they pay to who was really interesting. It was a great report. I think their model works well. Very impressed with their donations to other community groups, and I love that they collect the data that they collect. I'm comfortable with the $500, and I wish them all the very best with reinvesting their extra $2,020 per annum back into their activities, because if I read the report correctly, at the moment they pay $2,520 in their lease, and we're only going to charge them $500 if I understood correctly. So I think what they will do with that, I understood that's what the Pioneer Association charges them. So I'm assuming, and I understood that there is, well, what do we charge the Pioneer Association? And also they've paid $28,000 into a fund that I'm understanding from the report they're going to be able to draw on to do all their renovations. So if I've understood that correctly, is that right?
Sorry, your question was how much did Middleton, the other association, pay?
Yes, so if I read all of this, I'm trying to understand the map of, so they have a sublease to the Pioneer Association who are leasing it from council. The Pioneer Association charges the Middleton Arts and Craft $2,520. So that's not going to happen anymore. It'll be just a direct lease with council for $500. So they're going to save, under this arrangement, $2,000. The Middleton Arts and Craft are going to save that. But the Pioneer Association is actually going to lose that income, if I understand correctly.
That is correct. and I believe it is the request of the Pioneer Association not to enter into this subleasing arrangement anymore.
And so then there was a reference in the report to $28,000 that by paying such a high amount, that money was actually being set aside for this group or to maintain the hall, or I wasn't sure if I was reading that correctly. So I'm just wondering what the relevance of mentioning the $28,000 was.
I'll hand over to the manager of property.
So through the Mayor, that is correct that the Middleton Institute is charged $2,500, but will therefore only be charged $500 if it is direct lease with us. In regards to the $28,000, my understanding is that's a sinking fund between the two groups that we're not privy to because it's between the two groups, and it's how they reinvest that money across the two buildings that the Pioneer Institute are currently in charge of.
Any further discussion?
So I just wanted to reiterate, Your Worship, that I wasn't querying anything. I'm really impressed with what they do, and I love the report and what I learnt from it, and I wish them all the very best.
Is there any further discussion? No. So that ends it. Councillor, would you wish to write a reply? No. So I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. So we get Councillor Scott back, please. So 9.12 is the Natural Burial Ground Trust of Australia, a draft lease consultation outcomes. There's a recommendation A and B, we'll do them separately. So we're looking at it first. Tash, is there any clarity on this report?
Nothing further.
Are there any questions for clarity? It's been talked about quite a lot, this item. No, so we'll go to recommendation A, Group A first. Is there a mover for that? Councillor Miller. Second to Councillor Maidment. Is there any discussion? No. So I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. We go to recommendation Group B. Is there a mover for that? Councillor Thornton. Councillor Scott seconding it. Any discussion relating to that? No. Yes.
The potential, dare I say, clients of this, are they bound by the same, will be bound by the same regulations as the ones that choose the other cemeteries in the district, in our council district?
Through the Mayor, yes, they will. Do you want to add anything to that, Alan?
Yeah, through the Mayor. They will be responsible for that cemetery as any other authority would be. They would be deemed to be the cemetery authority in that location, therefore they would need to meet the requirements of the Act.
Well, I'm asking, and I said further clarification on off already. Is it when I read that, I got the impression that they may not have to be residents of the district and of the council area, whereas all our other cemeteries you have to reside, as I understand it, within this council area. And I just want to be checked that this was the same for this burial ground.
I'll hand over to the manager of property for that one.
Through the Mayor, no, they don't have to be residents of the council area, but in the body of the report it talks about that the natural burial ground will look at the numbers that they're getting in, and if it gets to a point where they think there's going to be limitations, they're going to work with us to prioritise residents.
So is any further discussion? No. There's no further discussion. I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 9.13 is the Strathalbyn Neighbourhood Centre. It's a draft lease consultation outcomes. Tash, is there any adds to this? Are there any questions for clarity? All know where it is. So there's a recommendation A and B. So we'll do A first. Is there a mover for A? Councillor Maidment.
Speak to that, please. So there were 26 responses on my say, 85% were in favour, so I'd just like you to bear that in mind. But the centre managers asked me to address the concerns that were put up on my say. One concern was that there should only be a 5-year lease. And the response there is that, yes, while it's reasonable, it restricts the centre's opportunity to secure long-range funding or significant funding to provide social support services to Strathalbyn and broader community. Another one said that the 10-year lease was too long. So I don't know if we're going to work this out. A 10-year lease will provide strength of tenure, enables long-range planning to create, implement and consolidate community-led supports. And the current use of the property provides the community with a valuable not-for-profit charitable human service which could not be replaced by the short-term gain of either state or of either sale or commercial opportunity. So they are trying to set up a commercial opportunity, and as someone said, a social supermarket is not required because there is a church operating a similar service nearby. Not quite correct. The operation model for the Strathalbyn Neighbourhood Centre is based on the social supermarket model prepared by the Flinders University. The proposed service will operate 5 days a week with option of change, provide low-cost ready-to-eat meals and frozen meals. The operational model provides for reduced cost, low cost or no cost basic food and household items. The proposed social supermarket also includes point of contact, social and wellness supports and opportunity for basic living skills instruction. And the food relief mentioned is by the church group is limited service. It meets a specific cohort of people's needs who are experiencing financial disadvantage. Also, the centre should resource its existing community programs rather than operate as a commercial entity social supermarket. Well, the Neighbourhood Centre is an independent, self-funded, predominantly volunteer-based organisation, and it needs to keep its doors open. It needs to operate on a financial basis of cost recovery, which is very good to hear. The centre receives funding for specific programs on a competitive basis, either through local, state or federal government grants. The social supermarket will provide capital returns, enabling higher level of services to support the community. Another concern was that the centre should be returned to council for council to run programs that are inclusive, community, engaging or improve the local community. We'd like to see how that would work. The council could operate the centre as suggested. However, the volunteer value is calculated using Volunteers Australia's current volunteer hourly value exceeds over $380,000, and the ratepayer would have to bear the cost of running the centre. And someone said it should be returned to the senior citizens. Well, it was the senior citizens as an organisation were unable to meet the needs of legislative compliance, governing board requirements, and with their decreasing membership, they decided to hand it over for the operation of a neighbourhood centre. So I hope that addresses all these concerns.
Do we have a second, Councillor Miller?
If I may just briefly, Your Worship, I reiterate everything that Councillor Maidman has just said, and I actually welcome any negative feedback that we receive, because it gives us an opportunity to respond to it and explain. And you know, I cannot imagine how council could possibly ever deliver what this delivers. This is an example of volunteer empowerment. What they deliver is impressive and delivered in a sustainable and inclusive and sensitive and way that only volunteers can do. And I think they run it professionally, and you know, I really appreciate the level of engagement that we received. I was surprised that there were so many responses, to be honest. So I think it's really a wonderful validation of a service that the community provides with support from council in a way that is the only model that really works, I think. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Not, I'll put the recommendation A. All those in favour? Okay, so it's carried unanimously. We go to recommendation B. Is there a mover for B? Councillor Oliver. Seconder, Councillor Maidman. Is there any discussion on B? If not, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. And 9.14. It is the lease and licence policy activities, April to June 2025, a quarterly report. Tash, is there anything, points of clarification on that? Any questions for clarification? Pardon?
I just wanted to declare my general conflict of interest, because this report does mention a lease with my employer, but I'm not going to, I don't have any questions or any debate. So it's just for receiving and noting there's no decision being made, but I just want that on the record. Thank you.
So what are you doing about the conflict?
Sorry, Your Worship, I'm remaining in the room. Thank you. And I'll be participating in the vote.
So you have the report before you. There's a recommendation. Is there a mover for that? Councillor Livingston. Second, Councillor Nicholson. Any discussion? Councillor Oliver.
I just want to say there's so many of these properties and leases. I just want to say what a great job you guys do administering all these. It just keeps going. Thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 9.15 is the Chief Executive Officer's report. Is there anything you need to clarify on this one, Tash? Andrew's not here? No. And so, are there any questions of clarity? There's a recommendation that we receive this Chief Executive Officer's report for June 2025. Is there a mover that we approve? Councillor Livingston. Seconded. Councillor Coomans. Are there any questions or comments relating to Andrew's report? Councillor Scott.
I would hope that we could ask at a subsequent meeting a question or two, but one in particular is his meeting with the proprietor of Pete's Soils. I'd be interested to hear the outcome of that, because that's a very interesting and environmentally, pretty environmentally advanced sort of setup. So
you can ask him next time.
Through the Mayor, I believe our Gentleman of Infrastructure may have also been there.
Yeah, through the Mayor, I was in attendance at that meeting with Andrew, so I can give you a brief update on that one. The meeting was about the access point into Pete's Soils on Kangaroo Road. Kangaroo Road was upgraded some years ago to take a certain level of traffic. The access point in and out of Pete's Soils has deteriorated, including the edge of seal. Now we have maintained that for some time, but it's come to a point where we need to think differently about how we approach that, where we look to make savings from a maintenance perspective and try and fix a problem that's there for a longer period of time from an asset management perspective. So that's the conversation that we're having with them at the moment around how we can work with them to improve that access point for many years to come.
Yep. So Andrew's report, no, so I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 9.16 is the Council Resolution Register. Andrew's not here, but Tash is all clear. So is any questions for clarity? So we need a recommendation that we receive and note that report. Councillor Livingston. Seconder. Councillor Nicholson. Any discussion or questions relating to that report? If not, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? It's carried unanimously. 11 is Council Members' Reports. 11.1 is my report. Any updates to that? I've got nothing. Says recommendation that report for June be noted and received. So is there a mover for that? Councillor Livingston. Secondly, Councillor Oliver. Are there any questions or comments related to that report? If not, I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 11.2 is the Council Members' Activity Report. Does the Council receive a note that report from Councillor Gardner for June 2025? Is there a mover for that? Councillor Livingston. Seconder, Councillor Miller. Are there any questions or comments relating to that report? No, so I'll put that to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. 11.3 is Council Member Activity Report and Verbal Updates. Are there any verbal updates relating to Council Member activity? No. Councillor Scott.
I appreciate that it's out of this area, but on Friday I went to the Drought Breaker lunch held at the Royal Showgrounds, which was also attended by another 569 people from all over the state and from interstate as well. And And I just want to draw to the council's attention the serious plight in some of the areas outside of a council area. You know how much rain we've had down here, but one fellow from up in the north had 3 mills only until the night before, and they had 19, and that's all they'd had. And of course we've had rain on rain on rain, and our season's underway. And a great deal of money was raised, and Rural Aid are putting 9 councillors out through the country. The INEOS vehicle manufacturer of the Deer has provided 9 vehicles for those to use, and there's a real campaign to try and alleviate some of the stress on the farming community that are still in severe drought. They raised in one day $175,000, and it was amazing, and I can talk about it afterwards, but I thought I just should draw your attention to that. Not the fact that I necessarily went, but I think it just shows some of our colleagues are really in a severe situation, and we are now nearly in August. And some of those areas that are in drought now, normally their season ends late September, very early October. They could be reaping out in some of those areas, reaping at the end of September. And some of them only just had rain and are trying to get crops up. And the situation being that if there's failed crops in too many areas, then the lack of hay will be exacerbated, and some of those areas will go into another year, and this time next year they will still be suffering, probably will have no stock left at all. So I just leave it at that, but I just want to draw council's attention to the severe situation that is in some areas.
Is there any further? Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Mayor. Very briefly, my own Murray Estuary community has been subjected to, in the last 2 months, to 3 very significant storm events. And I just want to note and thank admin for their emergency response during that time. For example, at the peak of the tidal flooding, the manager of field services was personally going house to house to check that there was no one stuck inside. Subsequently, then, over the next couple of days, there was a very rapid and massive clean-up, so I just want to express my thanks. And I also want to take the opportunity to highlight the importance of the Coastal Adaptation Plan, and these events just highlight how quickly and thoroughly we need to act. Thank you.
Any further to add? No, so I'll put the recommendation to you. All those in favour? Against? Oh, sorry. We haven't got that far, have we? No, we need a mover first. Councillor Livingston. Seconder, Councillor Gardner. Now I'll put it to you. All those in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Right, now we move to confidential.
South Coast Television, your community, your voice.